Well, well, well. You've decided to sit down and roll up a character, or three, for Dungeon Crawl Classics. Are you sure you have the intestinal fortitude to see this process through to the end? You aren't going to chicken out halfway, are you? Remember that level 0 characters are squishy, and there's a good chance some, if not all, of the characters you create won't make it to level 1. Fortunately, the process of making a character is quick and easy. Let's get started. According to the book, your first 2 steps are to roll for ability scores and determine your character's occupation. Since neither of these are reliant upon the other, you can do these in either order. So let's grab the book, some dice, a character sheet, and get started. I think it's fun to begin with an occupation, so let's start there. It gives you a little more time to think about your character and create at least a sketch of a backstory, which is about all you'll really need in order to get started. To determine your occupation, you'll roll 1d100 and consult the table. By my count, there are 80 different occupations on the table. Several, like farmer, will come up based upon a range of dice rolls. So get your dice and get ready to roll them and consult the chart. A few occupations require an additional roll or two, but for the most part, one roll and you're set. The Wainwright, for example, has you roll an additional 1d6 to see what you have in your cart. Before going too much further, it's worth mentioning that the official rules allow a player to use a predetermined backstory and occupation if they have a strong preference. Players can discuss this with their judge. Dungeon Crawl Classics uses the classic races found in old school adventures: human, dwarf, elf, and halfling. You'll have a 70% chance of rolling a human, and a 10% chance for each of the other races. Additionally, in an homage to older systems, these demi-races are also classes. We'll discuss that in a later video. With your character's occupation now set, it's time to determine your ability scores. Grab 3 lucky 6-siders and get ready to cry. You roll 3d6 for each ability score, and they are placed on your character sheet in a specific order. There are no rerolls, and there's no such thing as a starting array. Warts and all, you'll live with what you roll. The order you complete your stats goes: strength, agility, stamina, personality, luck, and intelligence, or whatever order they are listed on your character sheet. Each score will invoke a modifier, which will impact skill checks, saving throws, hit points, and more. Modifiers range from -3 if you rolled all 1s for an ability score, up to +3 if you rolled all 6s. Make a note of these in your character sheet, consulting the ability score modifiers table. For now, we'll breeze past exactly what most of these ability scores mean. We'll cover that in another video. Just understand that high numbers, which will be associated with positive modifiers, mean your character has some innate proficiency in that area. As an aside here, I don't like to think about high numbers being good or low numbers being bad. While it's probably true higher numbers will help your character survive his initial adventure, a character with some low numbers may be more fun to play. A flawed hero, in my opinion, is inherently more interesting and challenging to play. So don't be distraught if you don't roll particularly well. Just do the best with what you get. Before going on to more dice rolls and choosing your character's alignment, we need to address your character's luck score. This ability score operates differently than the others in that you can burn it in order to survive life or death situations. Your luck score's modifier will also affect specific roll types during play. Roll a 1d30, consult the luck score table, and make a note of this on your character sheet. Further discussion of your luck score, as well as the other ability scores, will be covered in another video. At this point, let's give your dice arm a rest and let you choose a few things. Begin by considering your character's name and alignment. Alignment is simplified in Dungeon Crawl Classics. You're either lawful, chaotic, or neutral. This is actually a big choice, as it can affect your character, if he survives, far into the future. Although lawful characters will typically be played good and chaotic played evil, it doesn't need to be that black and white. Based upon your character's occupation and race, what is your gut instinct? Do you see his character as being someone who is likely to follow, or disobey the rule of law? Do you think they will try to undermine authority, or will they try to do what's right? Not ready to decide quite yet? Think about it and allow yourself to make setting alignment the finishing touch in your character, who is probably going to die miserably anyway. All right, is your dice arm recovered? Are you ready to roll some more dice? Let's see how much, or how little, coin your character has, and what his starting piece of equipment is. Roll 5d12 to see how many copper pieces you have. Copper pieces, unsurprisingly, are like pennies. Silver pieces are like dimes, and gold pieces are like dollars. So if you roll 50 coppers, that's the same as 50 cents, or 5 dimes. You're probably not wealthy. I say probably because when you rolled your occupation, you should have noticed that you have a beginning weapon and also some trade goods. Most of these things don't really have much value. A butcher, for example, has a cleaver and a side of beef. But a halfling trader has a short sword and 20 silver pieces. This is in addition to what you roll when you roll for copper. A halfling moneylender has even more starting wealth. But even if you don't roll up anything of great value, you still get to roll for a random piece of adventure equipment. Roll 1d24 and consult the equipment table to see what you have. You don't pay for this piece of equipment, you just have it. Before your first adventure begins, your judge may allow you to do some bartering or even buying and selling of equipment. This is your chance to sell that side of beef for some rope, for example. Perhaps you can trade the side of beef and a backpack for some padded armor. You never know. It's worth discussing these things with the judge and your fellow players. You're all in this together after all. So what's left? Yes! You still need to see what languages your character speaks and also see how many hit points he has. Languages are pretty straightforward. All races speak the common tongue. And if you're one of the demi-races, you also speak your racial language. Dwarven, Elvish, or Halfling. Or is it Halfish? Heaven? Anyway, if you're pretty smart, meaning if you have a positive modifier for your intelligence, you speak one additional language per point. Your game's judge may have certain ones to choose from, or he may let you roll on a table. You'll probably learn some additional language later on, so don't sweat it. Let's get back to your hit points. Oh, an armor class. Roll 1d4 and add your stamina modifier. Your character can't have less than one maximum hit point. So if you roll a 1 on your 1d4 and your stamina modifier is -1, you still have 1 hit point. Yeah, he's not going to survive. Your base armor class, or AC, is 10. A higher number indicates a target that's more difficult to hit or damage. Your agility modifier is added or subtracted from your base AC. If you are lucky enough to purchase any armor or a shield, this will also increase your AC. At this point, you can also indicate your saving throws. Saving throws are special rolls you make when things are going poorly for your character. You'll soon learn to instinctively cringe when you hear your game master say, "Make a save." Dungeon Crawl Classics has 3 types of saves: Fortitude, modified by stamina, Reflex, modified by agility, and Willpower, modified by personality. Make a note of these pluses and minuses, or zeros, on your character sheet. Let's finish with a few things that need to be added to your character sheet. Speed. This is 30 feet if you're a human or an elf. Dwarves and halflings have a base movement of 20 feet since they have little stumpy legs. Your initiative, a measure of how alert you are in a combat situation, is simply your agility modifier. Your action die is a 1d20 and your attack modifier is 0 since you're a level 0 starting character. The crit die and crit table areas on your character sheet relate to what happens if you roll a natural 20 when attacking something. This is a good thing. Indicate that your crit die is 1d4 and the crit table you use is table 1. Your melee attack and damage numbers are based upon your strength modifier, while your missile attack and damage numbers are associated with your agility modifier. Well, that pretty well wraps it up. Your character is now complete, and you should be proud. Go out and make 2 more, and then you'll be set for your first adventure. Stand proud, hero. You've rolled those dice and showed them who's boss.